got so many crusties in my eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I've
just
been sleeping
cleaned.
hard.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say I just cleaned the pillow.
Don't cut to me. I'm doing something disgusting.
I thought you said I just cleaned out your crusties for you this morning. I just
like
ate
I'm a little
them.
white dog.
I ate them out.
Yeah. No. Oh, gross.
Crusty cleaner.
No. I just cleaned the pillowcases because I was like getting eye crusties. I was like, maybe it's time to clean I clean them every week, but I was like, maybe I need to clean them again.
Is that why you get eye crusties? Is from dirty pillows?
It's part of it because pillow like dust mites and stuff. Like your eyes, don't like that.
Dirty pillows is also what I call boobs.
Oh,
nice.
Those
are dirty pillows.
Dirty pillows is probably up there with pooper for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
We're just discovering then.
Because I think it's like a Gen
you're
X.
right. It is qualifying something that shouldn't be that disgusting as its like most disgusting
form.
Yeah.
And it's also the weirdest form of objectification. Like not only is it an object, but it's a dirty
object. Yeah, it's not even as bad as saying like fucking what is it? Like
boulders?
Yeah, well, what was the other one? Something that's like hanging.
Oh,
or like
well, there's like melons, there's like fucking
yeah. All of those don't have
sloppers.
the nasty
Yeah.
Even sloppers isn't
Sloppers isn't as bad.
because you're not adding that little adjective.
Dirty, and I also only imagine Gen X dads saying it.
Also trying to soften it by calling it pillows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
It's
no,
like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
Do you know what I mean though? I feel like a Gen X dad describing his like wife. Like, oh, her dirty pillows.
Yeah. She was suffocating me with her dirty pillows last night.
like he walks into a. 'Cause I worked at a
hate
bra
that.
shop.
Yeah.
And like Gen X dads are.
Oh man,
like,
you got to say bra shop faster next time because for the first 1/8 of that word or that set of words, it sounded like you're gonna say brothel.
Oh.
I thought I was the only one that heard that. What the hell? That's crazy.
No. I used to work at a bra shop. And when Gen Z husbands would come in, like
I
there was
think
a
you would call it a
vibe about
lingerie
them.
shop or something like that.
Sure.
You weren't just selling bras.
Yeah, but it's mostly bras.
Okay.
Like there was lingerie, but like people are. What you're right. It's a lingerie shop, but they would come in and they would, the old, got to get something for the old woman or for my wife,
Yeah.
and they would definitely say something like, "She's got pretty big, dirty pillows." So,
Oh my god.
like that's how they talk for sure.
So they're getting something sexy for their wife?
Sometimes it's utilitarian.
Okay, so I gotta say, if you're buying bras for your wife for like utilitarian bras, that's stupid. Don't do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that.
Give me your most utilitarian bra.
Well,
it just doesn't make any sense. It's like they know
It's her comfort, it's
their
her- yeah.
Yeah.
they know their body better than you do. Like, why are you buying her a bra? Doesn't make any sense.
And boobs are so, I will say, even for lingerie, though, also, like, if you gift lingerie to your partner, chances are it is not something that makes them feel sexy. Because every piece of lingerie, like, fits differently, highlights different parts of the body, like...
Yeah, if you're a guy and you want to go there, like, you may as well have your partner there, because then you can make it a little bit more of an experience.
Yeah,
you might learn
definitely.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, for people who don't have big boobs, because, I mean, that's a lot of people, when you have bigger boobs, or just boobs that are beyond, I would say, like, an A cup, even A cups, to be honest, there are so many bra shapes and types that, like, you could say, like, oh, I'm a 32 double D, and your partner can go in there and buy you a 32 double D, but if it's, like, a balcony 32 double D, that fits very, very different than like a push-up 32 double D, than like a
This is a new term I haven't heard of, balcony.
Balcony. Balconies fit me
My dirty
the best.
balcony.
Excuse me. That's what they call taints. Dirty balconies. That cup size though, for me, the balcony fits really well because I'm wider than I am tall.
Right.
And that matters. Like where the fat is held
that makes sense.
and sits on a boob, like matters for how things fit. So it's futile Unless you're buying the exact same bra that because every woman has one bra that they spam the shit out of.
Right.
So if you
the brand, the typing.
Yeah. Then
the class.
That's great. Because, like, it's hard to justify buying the exact same product.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it feels weird buying.
All right, we're going
to
turn this conversation into a happy new year to everyone. It's 2025, which is quite, I like it. I like a round number.
What?
Like what's the word? I like fives. I like multiples of 5.
5 times 5 is 25.
Yeah, I like multiples of 5. It's O's and 5s. Those are great.
No, it is nice. This is a quarter of the way through the century. It's nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's impactful.
I have to say Happy New Year to everyone except for Elon Musk, people who don't buy women, people who don't brush their teeth before bed.
I didn't realize there were commas between all of these.
People who say that they're strictly dog people or strictly cat people, and people who judge people for calling the homeless population homeless instead of unhoused.
Wait. I call them homeless.
It's a long list.
That one.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
No, judging people.
Oh, judge.
For using the term homeless instead of
Sorry,
unhoused.
my brain.
And also people don't listen to their wives. That really pisses me off.
Yeah.
Hey, quit white knighting my wife, bro.
and Happy New Year to everyone except for the husband that uses all the toilet paper and doesn't replace the toilet paper roll.
Not my problem.
Yeah, that's
not my problem.
Kind of true.
That's what I said when I called out. I said, Ian, there's no toilet paper in here. He said, not my problem.
Not my problem. Use your hand. That's what God gave it to you for.
Oh, my God.
Perfectly good towel in there.
Yeah. Perfectly good towel. The other day, I had to use a perfectly good, only one day used sock to dap up Fiona's drool. It was about to hit our bed.
That's true. He did do that. Yeah. It was hanging there for a while. It was giving me anxiety. I was like, how does this end?
Yeah.
But Ian thought
all right. So let's stay on topic. It's 2025. That means we have new plans for the podcast, new plans for each of our lives. We're all going to do great things this year.
Yeah.
This is the start of something fantastic. But before
Ian's
we get into that,
disgustingly optimistic.
I'm very optimistic.
Ian's feeling disgustingly optimistic. We're on different pages. I'm feeling disgustingly tired.
She will continuously bring up the fact that bird flu is coming.
Yeah.
It is going to be as bad or worse than the Spanish flu of fucking 1917 or whenever the fuck that happened.
I think it was like 1917.
Don't we have a better one to compare that to? Like a more recent one?
I don't think so.
No, because apparently, no. Apparently, COVID is only a Class D pandemic, whereas if the bird flu hits pandemic status, it will be a Class B. And the last time that happened was the Spanish flu.
I mean, D cup is still pretty big.
It's way worse. It would be way worse than the than COVID.
It's golf rules, Dane.
Yeah.
The lower the letter.
Oh, okay. It's not bra rules?
Not bra rules.
Not bra rules. Oh, speaking of Ja Rule. Anyway, I'm optimistic because I just think things are changing. Things might have to get bad until they get better.
Ian, people are dying.
Yeah, that always happens.
Yeah, kids are starving in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
but
what?
But not like, I mean, the first 48 hours of 2025 was fucked.
Yes, and it was symbolic of you got to crack a few.
No.
Oh my God.
No, Ian, no.
That's not the analogy I was meaning to fucking say.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at is that
our military is running people over right now.
Right. I mean, that's true.
Like, and not
when
even
are they
organized.
Not, though? When are they not, though?
But not even organized. It's just independent. A Green Beret blew himself up.
Independent contractor.
It's an independent military contractor.
Yeah, if anyone is unaware of that story, well, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the Tesla Cybertruck blowing up in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas. But the additional details of that is the guy who supposedly, this is all alleged, or we heard it from a podcast or something.
No. Well, the FBI pulled out his ID and passport, and they were like,
Right.
it was him.
They
But
still need to confirm, though.
I was gonna say that he was so badly charred.
Yes.
But,
that
like-
it's fucking unidentifiable.
Yeah, but it's crazy because the passports weren't. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm just
Interesting.
saying it's just a little weird.
Yeah.
That's
I had
all.
heard the information I had was that they got the information of who he was, his identification from his phone, and not from anything
But
paper.
also his phone.
Well,
as
I mean,
well.
phone records, perhaps.
Oh, like where it was pinging.
No, it's very possible that you could look like what would have survived from the phone is like the ID of the
Serial
phone
numbers,
itself,
maybe.
serial number or whatever, and then you trace that back to who owned it through the phone companies or something. I
Okay.
mean, like
Hey.
I don't know exactly how they did it, but it wasn't that weird to me that they found out who he was once I found out that it was from his phone. Because at first
Oh.
I did hear that they found his ID, and I was like, didn't he become unrecognizably blown up? Like, why did the paper ID survive? Doesn't make
Right.
any sense. But then
They showed the picture of the ID. It's just like a little chart on the side, and you
Oh.
can see the whole picture and everything.
Maybe
Oh,
because
that's
of
a
the
little
explosion.
suspicious. Maybe
No, I think it was the explosion. We all saw the explosion.
yeah.
It sent
flung
his
out, and it was
passport flying.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the bits of
Oh.
shrapnel.
It could have.
You know what I think it is? They faked it, and the way they faked it is,
Yeah.
you know how like whenever you make a book report about like the old days or something,
Yeah.
you use a lighter
Yeah.
to you make it all like cool
Yeah.
and brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they did.
You use a lighter and then
I
you
love
pour
that.
coffee on it, and
Uh-huh.
I honestly, but it was
Okay.
supposedly the Green Beret. He is a Green Beret, which for those of you who don't know, that's like
That's even more crazy than the SEAL Team 6.
intense. And the only reason why I know that is because I dated a guy named, his last name was Beret, and he was insistent that he was going to name his child Green.
That's so cringe.
That-
I hope he sees that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll
no.
turn it into a YouTube short or an Instagram reel and send it his way.
I mean, it's been long enough. Maybe he's already had his son Green born.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, he's out
Maybe,
He's
here.
alive and well.
maybe he's an avid watcher,
Little
a fan.
Green.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. It's not cringe. If your name's Green, that's not a bad thing.
Hey, remember, there's someone out there named Apple.
Yeah, and Blanket.
Oh, really? Blanket?
Yeah,
It's Michael Jackson's son.
and Heavenly Grace.
That
as
one's
well.
less.
I read to a young
And
girl
Aquafina.
also
Yeah,
Aquafina.
Aquafina, yeah.
We needed to, as like a third grader, we needed to read to like kindergartners or something.
I remember doing that.
Yeah, and that was such a weird program. But yeah, the girl I was assigned to read to, her name was Heavenly Grace.
Oh.
Yeah, very weird.
Did I tell you about my, there was a girl who, her last name was Lear. So her parents named her first name Crystal, middle name Shanda, last name Lear.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Crystal Chandelier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wowee. Okay.
My dad wanted to name my sister Heaven.
I mean, my sister's name means faith in Arabic, so I can't really like.
Yeah, doggone it.
Yeah.
The word heaven, though, is just so like I don't associate
Yeah.
that with a person's name ever.
I
Yeah.
know. It's way too strong as well. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, you can't really ignore it. Crystal, it's like it's one of these
Yeah.
things where it only becomes cute once you say the full name.
Yeah.
But man, when you have to say your full name.
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing.
Oh, although if you're just doing Crystal and Lear, not
Crystal
bad.
Lear is kind of weird, though.
Yeah. Well, someone might interpret it as all one word. Crystal Lear. What's that? New Pokemon?
I was thinking like a slap chop variant, like something that fucking Billy
Oh.
Mays would sell.
Okay.
Crystal Lear here. Gets
Yeah.
rid of soda stains. All types of stains.
Okay, yeah.
Crystal
Okay.
clear with Crystal Lear.
Okay, you've already come up with it. Nice.
Yeah, that's my theory.
All right.
Theory crafting. But no, so Green Beret blew himself up, leaked an email or something about some.
Oh my god,
Crazy
the email is so fucking cool.
It's crazy, but apparently now people are like saying that the CIA informant that this guy had on his podcast,
Is a sham.
yeah, he's like a
Yeah.
You know, one of these like aliens are real, read my book.
Oh no.
So I think the guy, if I'm being honest, this is what I think is going on. Because there's this fucking, I'm not going to call her a mean name. There's this woman that I do not agree with. I think her name's Amy something, who
I
is
like the control here. This is good.
No, yeah, I had to control myself because I was getting out of control.
Yeah, okay.
She was like saying that in 2025 there was a bunch of sleeper.
What's her name?
Amy something.
Okay. Or was it Sarah something?
No, I think it's Amy.
Amy, okay.
Something. I can't remember.
Oh, I'm Buds.
But yeah, she basically said that like there's a bunch of Al Qaeda or insert whatever terrorist group coming into the U.S. and has been coming into the U.S. And in 2025, what we saw in Israel on October 7th is going to happen in 2025. And at least 60,000 Americans are going to die from terrorist attacks in 2025. So she's really like scaring the shit out of everybody. And she's using these like military personnel that have, done these horrible things, right? You had New Orleans, the guy who ran into the crowd of people and shot people, and you have this other guy that blew himself up in front of Trump Tower. And people are trying to say like, oh, she's onto something, except for the fact that both of these people were born and raised in the U.S. One, two, I think what is more realistic is that we are becoming less and less and less caring / funding less when it comes to people's mental health, especially people in the army, especially people who have served overseas and definitely have PTSD and other mental health issues. We're neglecting them, and now we're seeing the violent outcome of putting people through that type of distress and then not giving them resources for help. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing a bunch of people self-destructing and having mental health crisis. He sounds like he was in psychosis. Like he was manic. And like, of course, there's going to be people who are like, they want it to be that he was being honest and like, this is like a truth telling. But I think that it's Occam's razor. It's military guys, because these are guys that are going overseas, going through extremely traumatic events, coming home, not getting any help. And then, this is what's happening.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
that's what it is. So people who are scared that there's going to be a bunch of terrorist attacks, I think there are going. I'm not going to minimize this. I think that we are seeing the tip of the iceberg of society breaking down in that way, and people are going to take out their anger on other people in violent ways. And I think people should be concerned and alert. And I think it is a statement on our current. System and where we're at, but it's not some nefarious Middle Eastern country sending in the big brown baddies to come blow us up. We don't need that. We're doing it ourselves.
Yeah,
so.
Very valid.
Yeah.
And if you look at all of the domestic terrorism over the past fucking decade, at least, it's a lot of us.
It's us.
Yeah.
It's all us. Apparently, this Green Beret was a big Trump head.
Yeah. I was. I'm remembering just like there's these little blips in my history of thinking of like a lot of domestic terror attacks and over my lifetime, and it's always been like fucking former military guy.
Yeah.
There was a guy I think on a base in Texas, a lot on bases. And I think the nightclub shooting guy was a military person.
They cover that up a lot,
Yeah.
The base on base violence.
Ugh.
It happens a lot. And they, the Army has their own, like, investigation that they
great.
do. Yeah. So they can, like, cover up a lot of stuff.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about that until watching that episode of Crime Junkies where it's talking about someone who essentially disappeared from...
On base.
On base. And it was just like I think they scouted the area and they randomly found some other person who had gone missing, but was like probably killed or, drove out to this area. And
shot himself or something because he had a bullet in his head. And they reported him that he willingly left.
Yeah.
And even though his parents called and were concerned and they were like, he wouldn't just leave, they told them at the time that he just left on his own accord. So
Super creepy.
yeah,
As I was hearing even this story, even hearing some of the terms of, because I think it was a woman who disappeared in this particular instance that I'm thinking of.
yeah,
Them like describing the story, it was so, I don't know if this is probably a me problem, but as they're using some of these military terms like she entered the barracks and blah blah blah, I was like, what the fuck? I can't help but think of like an orc stronghold or something when you describe something as barracks. It's just like, call it a fucking building.
well,
like,
the barracks
it made me mad.
are specifically known to be like if you're the wife of a military person and your partner is like staying in the barracks, it's basically assumed that they're cheating on you because it's like where it's like a how do you describe it? Dane, have you ever been in the barracks?
I can look it up.
Yep.
Yeah, so you
This
know.
is all very familiar.
Yeah, so you know like, the barracks.
Oh, my dad cheated on my mom
Yep.
when he was living on base.
Yep.
Lots of military bases, whether it be overseas or even on the same base.
Yeah.
I just looked up, or I just typed in barracks, and the first result was barracks bunny meaning.
Yes. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Because it's like a frat house situation.
Right. On Reddit it says, 2 years ago, are barracks bunnies a real thing?
Yeah.
First comment, OP confirms that he doesn't fuck. Okay.
Yeah, which I mean is saying that
OP is not even a poolie yet. I don't know what that means.
this is a whole different culture you're entering into
I
right
see
now.
he is weighing his pros and cons of going active in reserves. Laughing till crying. Yeah, bud, I once brought a Tinder date to the barracks and she laughed at her phone and said she saw her friend in the same barracks on her Snap map. They were both well acquainted with base and both only there for one thing. I'm not sure what that means.
Poor Ian is like getting it's broke. It's like sports culture, but it's a slightly different.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, you've seen some wonderful...
Yep. I'm glad I didn't just go through this and just start reading things because we get really racist in here.
Yep, there you go.
Holy shit. It just like, then now they're trying to one-up each other.
Yeah.
And all these obscure racist terms that they,
yeah,
depending on where they're stationed or whatever. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So the barracks are, I mean, it is kind of like what you're imagining. It's like this kind of like,
yeah,
you don't go there unless you're looking to party, basically, is what a lot of people, if you're like a party. Yeah. And a lot of, like Dane's dad, they cheating, Coke. Is Coke popular in the army? Because I know Coke is popular in the rigs.
I don't know about that. I mean, this all happened when I was like 10, so I was only exposed to certain like more obvious parts of it. But
yeah,
I mean, it's basically like a little college campus for men who signed up to kill people. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
yeah. Because I know,
well said.
I don't, obviously I don't have a lot of friends in the army, but I did know people in the rigs, and rig pigs would partake in Coke because you get drug screened, but something that moves out of your system really fast is Coke.
Okay.
So they would do Coke on like whatever you call that base or their like work, and then go to the strippers. And it was hard. You can't smoke weed though. That's
what freebasing means.
Freebasing.
Because you're free to do it on the base.
Yeah, it's the actual term of freebasing. I had friends who dated rig pigs, and every one of them ended the same.
Yeah.
Well, listen, not all rig pigs are the same.
That's true. There are a lot of
There's
dudes
some
that
noble
get in.
rig pigs. We call them rig kings.
there are dudes that get in and get out, and I feel especially bad for them because they have to be around the culture. But like, look, I mean, we have relatives that they're not rig pigs, but they do shift work up.
Yeah.
And they're
No, I mean, for every
rig
bad
adjacent.
experience, there's also a good experiences. Like within my family, my uncle was in the Navy for like 25 years, and he had a fucking awesome experience, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, I've heard the Navy is
You know what?
nothing.
The,
Nothing.
my,
I'm sure he
what,
had a great
my
experience.
my uncle is a seaman. Big deal.
My uncle's a big seaman. Is he big?
I don't know. He's like average size.
I was hoping he was a big
Okay,
semen.
let's stay on track.
Anyway.
New year, new me.
So I'm just saying, I just want to circle back to the New Year thing and say the break a couple eggs.
Hey, we're already past that, babe. There's no eggs being broken.
But I just want to say, I hope that the New Year is good, but I am not optimistic.
Okay.
Why are you optimistic?
I'm optimistic based on vibes only.
Okay.
The vibes I'm getting is that, like, this might be a big shakeup year for a lot of people, but what a shakeup might mean is that you fall down to a dark, deep place.
Oh, okay. I
And it's
thought we were
difficult
going
to get
somewhere
back
else
up.
with that. Okay.
Or it could mean that someone splashes a bit of water on your face and you're like, oh, I'm awake. I'm out of the simulation.
Oh.
Take the red pill.
Yeah, that kind of like that.
This is very, like, symbolic.
Yeah.
So you think this is the wake up?
I think this is wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dane, how are you feeling?
I feel similarly optimistic about this year, honestly.
Interesting.
I feel like things have to get worse before they get better, right? And I feel like things are expected to get worse, so therefore things will probably get better soon. You know?
Yep. That's what I think.
We're at the end of the marathon when we're shitting ourselves, but we're okay with it, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Precisely.
Uh-huh. And we missed fucking 5 water bottles in a row. We just like crushed them all by accident.
Have you seen
We're
that
losing
clip
fine muscle control.
of that poor woman who like literally says to the camera, like, I've shit myself. Don't get my backside.
Yeah.
Proceeds to not only include the audio of her saying, I shit myself, but then also shows her backside.
Brutal.
So fucked.
Okay, so one thing that I really liked about that Green Beret email thing, and I want to see if any of our listeners feel the same. I'm pretty, what's the word? I'm a little bit over the talk of aliens. Because I can only, get fucking gaslit or, told that shit so many times before I'm like, fuck this, we ain't even close to aliens. But in this, it talked about like a race between China and the U.S. for, what is it? I think they both have, or oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Fiona's freaking out because she heard a mailman or something. Talking about Gravitic propulsion systems.
Yeah, gravitic propulsion.
Now it's probably all horseshit, but that does sound fucking cool, and I want it explained to me by like Neil deGrasse type.
Yeah,
because then I could like kind of be like, okay, like maybe not aliens, but maybe there is some cool new tech we can look forward to on the horizon. Because I like that premise.
Motto is, if Joe Rogan has people on his podcast talking about it, it's not real and will never be real.
Yeah, well, he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on, so.
Yeah, but Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't inventing things or talking about things that aren't real.
Not according to Ian. Ian thinks that Neil deGrasse Tyson invented language.
What the fuck are you putting in my mouth, Dane? Take it out. Whatever you put in my mouth, I want you to reach down there and rip it out.
All right, someone clip that audio. That was suggestive.
I understand, like, he has a wide range of, like, but the amount of times that someone has come on and been like, yeah, the U.S. has been doing this, the government's been doing this, blah, 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 blah. And then someone who's, like, very qualified and, like, isn't flowery about it, like, comes on and is like, this is just some loser that has, like, no credibility at all and is just, like, straight up lying. Like, I've gotten to the point where I just can't believe anything.
Happens too much.
It happens too much.
Yeah.
They're always so confident and they're always like, since 1950, the U.S. has been in a race, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody else comes on and they're like, no, none of that's true. That's literally an idiot.
Yeah, that's literally an idiot.
And then I'm sitting here and I'm like, I believe the idiot because he was so unabashedly confident.
Well, I will say, I mean, it's just one of those things. Just like how good is your
bullshit radar?
Yeah, bullshit radar.
Not
like
good.
One of the things that I saw immediately when I started like trying to look up some information around this.
Yeah.
Well, I started on Twitter. Not a great place to start. But I just wanted to see what people were saying.
Yeah.
You know, and there were so many people who were like linking like patents, like patent drawings
Yeah.
of like a gravitic propulsion system or something. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you
Patents
guys
are
realize
not-
that like fucking like if the US government wanted to do something, they don't need, it's not like a legal requirement that they need to patent the technology.
Literally just some loser who's like, what if like
Yes.
the object fell into the sky constantly, went really fast?
Yeah, a much
Going to
dumber
make,
Terrence Howard or something.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
you could put whatever you want in
And
a patent.
throw a patent. And isn't there proof of just like, you can find some crazy ass patents.
Oh
out
yeah.
there. So like, I don't.
Yeah, you could be going through fucking Psychosis
Yeah.
and file 20 patents
Yeah.
if you want to.
Yeah. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Whatever you want. You can just draw fucking Mickey Mouse and fucking say
Steamboat
that's
Willie
the technical.
put it into a
Yeah.
patent now. Yeah.
But yeah, it just excited me because I like the idea of new tech that just fucking rockets us into
Yeah.
like this new era of like space travel and
Yeah.
maybe not having to take a plane.
Well, let me put it this way. In the 40s, if someone explained to me, even now, to be honest, the first time I heard this, if somebody was like, there was a guy who's making a energy source, a bomb, that's basically just atoms ripping apart violently. I would be like, what the fuck? Like, that's not real. And like, I'm sure, like, if we're doing shit like that every like,
True.
100 years, 80 years, or whatever it is, like, it seems like that is what happens, is like something that seems crazy suddenly becomes not crazy. So it is hard to close your ears off to, there's a race, like a worldwide race to like
Yeah.
get the next technology and understand what it is. I'm sure there is something that is being developed. We just,
Yeah, this reminds me. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's this like young kid who I think I've seen like 3 different versions of this, where it's like, oh, in 2006, this guy was developing a fuel that turned plastic into like nice, like good clean energy or whatever. And there's recently this kid on TikTok who was like saying that he's turning plastic into fuel kind of thing. And there were so many early on. There were so many like people in the comments saying, "Protect this kid at all costs." You know, this and that. Like basically saying like he's a genius and
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know anything about like fucking fuel or technology or any of this shit.
Yeah.
So like neat.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
give this a like maybe.
yeah.
And move on. But recently, because he's continuing to make this content, recently I came across a video that was like a clip of like a TikTok live stream of this kid and some guy who I think very much knows what he's talking about, like arguing back and forth. And this guy who knows what he's talking about is like, you're just fucking burning plastic. Like it's like just a I think there's a specific name for it, like plasta fuel or plasta something.
Well, isn't plastic made out of oil?
Yes.
So
Yeah. But essentially, like,
also, if you burn anything,
I know.
you're
All that to say,
Yeah.
it's just like he's found a way to burn plastic like everyone, like it's not new technology necessarily. It's just, it's something that he could sell and market to TikTokers and seem like he's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just nothing. It's just, worse than nothing.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, it's so hard to be, that's what because I have a really good bullshit radar for anything diet, nutrition, or
That's very
body
true.
wise. Like it's very easy for me to be like, oh, that's so dumb. But the reality is we can't be experts in everything. So it's very hard to like be able to decipher in all these different fields when something is, because I'm incredibly gullible when it comes to anything that has to do with like seismic patterns or like weather patterns.
Yeah.
Or I'm dumb and I believe anything that people tell me. People are like, oh, there's indicators of the big one coming, and I'll just fucking believe it.
Yeah.
So like it's really hard to be navigating. And so I guess to bring it back, because I don't think we really talked about it. The Green Beret who blew himself up in the Tesla leaked an email to a CIA informant or something, some guy. And there's this guy who runs a podcast named Sean.
Something.
There's a guy who runs a podcast who basically like leaked the email and said, I'm taking a big risk leaking this email, and me and my family are going into hiding. We need prayers, whatever. The podcast has a fuck ton of views on YouTube. And basically in this email, the Green Beret basically says, yes, it's me, to verify my first car was a fucking black Mustang or whatever the hell he said. I'm not in distress. And then he said...
duress
or whatever. And he said basically like the drones that are in the east or on the East Coast are Chinese drones that are coming out of the Atlantic, and they've been there for a while, and it's a flex of power, and the US also has the same technology, and basically like it's assured destruction. But he's leaking this information because he thinks that it's important for people to know that we have figured out gravital propulsion, which when you look into it, it's basically just this concept that if you have something falling perpetually, you can go as fast as you want. You're like creating a gravitational hole that basically an object is falling into.
Gravity
constantly.
well.
Yeah, gravity well. So, you know, when you see those diagrams that they show with the two big openings and then it gets skinny and it's like the grid, like basically that. It's a wormhole. It's a wormhole or whatever.
It's like in Portal.
It's like in Donnie Darko. But basically, he's saying that all of this is true. He also goes on to say that he was part of war crimes in the Middle East that have been verified, which, shocker, the U.S. was committing war crimes. Like, that shouldn't, I mean, that's not really, anybody could say that. And
The U.S. loves war crimes.
Yeah. So, anyways, that being said, there are people who have gone on Joe Rogan and basically said since the 1950s, the US has been in a race to figure out how to like get this technology actually working in a real world. And so people are like, oh, this must be, you know, the new tech. And on its face, it seems very interesting and very like, holy shit, this is it. Like, this has to be. But when you start like looking deeper into it and people start to poke holes in it, like the person who was talking on Joe Rogan is like trying to sell his like alien crackpot shit book and everything else.
But the problem is there's so many that Joe Rogan has had, because I don't even know if you're necessarily talking about this guy Bob Lazar.
Yeah,
Bob Lazar's one of those that had like, I think a lot of
I've heard the name Bob Lazar.
Yeah, he sells fucking alien books, but he's also like, you know, he's had some roles I think in government and stuff. So it's like, it always seems like that's what they use, is they use their time in the government or military
as a stamp.
Yes, and it makes it feel very valid.
Yeah.
And
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like you're trying to get a good dog, a good well-bred dog, and you just assume somebody has the AKC stamp on their page, like I'm registered with the AKC, and you're like, oh, okay, must be a good breeder. But then you learn like anyone basically can get registered with the AKC, and then
interesting.
And then it just becomes.
I thought you were gonna say anyone can just put a fucking logo on their website.
No, you can get pretty easily registered with the AKC, and like it's like the first step. Like you should look for it, but it's the first step of like many. To find like an ethical breeder, in the same way that like you can get a job in the government, and you can like work in it and still have no fucking clue. But use it as a stamp. It's nurses do it too. You've seen the nurses who have like misled people about vaccines and shit.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? Like you can work in the medical field.
That's a great point. I don't give that enough thought.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
That is almost like the whole fucking purpose of them like getting into that field in the first place is just so they can spread conspiracy theories.
They have authority. It's like automatic authority because
that's true.
Like nurses, I don't want to listen. I love nurses. I think nurses are the backbone of the healthcare industry. I'm not, saying anything bad about that, but there are a lot that you can be a nurse and also be grossly uneducated on like these. There's people who will go into like immunology and virology. There are people who are experts in that field, and you know, as a nurse, like you can vary in how much you know about that field specifically.
Of course.
And nurses that don't know very much about that field decide to grift, and it can be very dangerous. So,
Yeah.
There's prenatal nurses and that know a lot about babies, and then other nurses that work in fucking like hospice or end of life care will insert themselves on like vitamin K shots, for example. So like there's fields and expertise that's the same in government.
No, that's a great point.
So
very true.
Yeah.
Thank you for that breakdown. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know.
No, you didn't even apologize. It was
Getting passionate.
No, it's super good. Like, because you're right. It affects us in every field. And I mean, even if you are an expert or you feel like you're an expert in specifically just the topic of media and spreading misinformation or any of this stuff, you can feel like you are a like you almost like spec into like low level bullshit stuff, like figuring out the low level bullshit. Like I could spot a fake thing on Twitter, kind of thing, and that's its own area of like media, or not media literacy. That's a different phrase.
Online
bullshit detector.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I don't know.
Critical thinking.
Yeah, exactly. This basic shit that we're taught in school, basically.
Yeah.
But that's its own domain.
Yeah.
Which is, what are you being sold?
Yep.
And you can kind of write everything off as, I'm being sold something, so it's all bullshit until it's not.
That's what sucks about it, though, is like in the world that we live in, especially online, you're basically constantly prey, right? And like the way that you can learn to adapt to that is very different. I think people who are everything is bullshit, so I'll assume nothing is real, that is like basically the rabbits of the internet world, right? Because rabbits, their whole defense mechanism is, I'm terrified of everything and I will run away anytime there's a hint of like a problem. And it's like a good strategy, obviously, like, rabbits use it for a reason, but it's interesting to see how many tactics people have online to protect themselves from this like world.
I like the rabbit comparison.
Yeah, because that's what I always view people who are like, nothing is real and I need to assume everything is a lie.
Yeah.
That level of paranoia, like, it keeps you safe, but it's also like you're just constantly not enjoying life or the internet. So it's interesting to see that mechanism.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so Dane, I've downloaded this Pokemon app.
Yeah, I want to download it too. Ian did it first.
What's that?
Pokemon TCG
Pocket.
Pocket. Yes, I think I got the right one. You drag your finger across the Pokemon pack to cut it open.
Yeah, with your razor sharp finger.
Yeah. Well, I saw, before I downloaded it, I did see someone get a God pack.
Right. Apparently those exist in real packs now, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
But it kind of seems like you can cut the Pokemon cards. Is that
in the
thing?
app?
In the app, yeah. Like if you move your is that a possible thing? Because
I mean,
this
I've
person
never
was freaking out that they just did that on a God pack. Like they fucked up their cards on a God pack.
In the app?
In the app, yeah.
Maybe they might have just been like doing a bit.
Okay.
Because that doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's a mechanic in the game that you can actually cut your card.
Ian told me that, and it made me so nervous every time he cut a pack. I was like, oh my God, don't mess with
I thought it was cool because I thought it was more, like the app was more focused on this, like the meta card collection kind of thing where it's like, oh yeah, you can turn them into like a virtual PSA place to get it graded and maybe do all this other extra shit.
That'd be
right.
Which is true.
That'd be cool.
You do have the, like, what is it called? Like additional like modifiers and things that you can put on the cards, like flair, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
I need to download that today. I was watching Ian open the packs.
Yeah.
It was fun.
But yeah, look, I mean, I haven't.
You get anything good?
A holographic executor.
Executor.
Yeah, holographic executor. Also,
the Charmander from the.
Oh, there's something called a Wonder Pick.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's basically where, I don't know, a handful or a dozen people will show up. Some people from your friends list or just random people if you don't have friends. And it will show you a pack that they recently opened, and you can choose one of these people to do a wonder pick from, and it basically shows you the back side of all 5 of the cards, and you have to randomly pick one of the cards.
Because it jumbles them up.
Yeah, it jumbles them up, shuffles them.
Yeah.
And you hopefully pick something good. And I got it. Or I picked someone who had a flaming Charmander.
Yeah, it was like a holographic Charmander.
And
Was it like a full art? Like as like the full arts
Yes.
are the ones where it's the entire frame of the card has the artwork on it.
You
I
should
might have to
check.
show you.
Yeah, because
Okay,
I don't know.
sure.
I mean, it looked really cool. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there are even holographic
Oh,
cards in the sense that you're thinking. I mean, they might technically be shiny. Yeah, that's a full art.
Okay.
Full arts are like the new holographics of like the new Pokemon card generation, I
Oh.
would say. As in, those are probably the more sought after cards.
and it feels
Mostly
like
just 'cause they're very cool.
Freaking real life. You can
I know.
spin it and twist it and fuck it and suck it. Look at that's the back of the card.
Oh my god!
There's like almost
Hey,
no point in seeing that, but they
you want to
say-
know something cool about
do it.
that?
Hmm.
A little Easter egg in the app is whenever you open a pack, you can move it with your finger to look at the
Yes.
sides
Yeah.
of them, and you can kind of peek and see if the edges of the cards are holographic. And you're like, oh, I got a holographic. It's kind of like whenever you open in a pack and you accidentally get a
Yeah.
little peek, and you're like, oh my god, there's something good. There's something
Oh.
good. We got something good.
That's
They
sick.
they integrated that in the app. I thought that was a nice little detail.
That is.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
They
Yeah.
I've noticed as well when you're going through, they basically made it so that when you're choosing a pack, you go into this mode where there's like a
Roundabout.
a roundabout
Yeah.
of
Oh, carousel.
yeah,
Yeah.
carousel. That's a better way of putting it, more technical, of booster packs. So it feels a lot like you choosing a booster pack in the
From
card
the pile.
shop
Yeah.
from the pile. And they do like these little subtle things. Like I found that every once in a while there'll be one that's like backwards in the carousel. It's not indicative of anything. Big surprise. They just do it to make your imagination run wild.
You're like, oh my god, that's the weird one.
Yeah.
There must be something different about that. It's like Wayne packs or something. You're like,
Yeah.
this one's 0.1 grams heavier, I think.
Yeah, everyone's got their own little method, you know. For a while, what I was doing is I was like, I need to speed it up. So I went,
Yeah, he'd whip
and
it.
I made the
Ah.
carousel go crazy, and then I would stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's been fun. I really, really enjoyed that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cards.
Good suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you, Dane.
no problem. I suggested that off pod, so I don't know if anybody was aware of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, now they are aware of it.
Yeah, and they should download it too if they like Pokemon or Pokemon cards.
Yeah, you get a bunch of
Just
free
like
packs.
Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Scratches that millennial itch.
Yeah, it does scratch the millennial itch.
Although, if you want to scratch the millennial itch, I suggest going with this app instead of playing Harry Potter slots on your mobile phone.
Yeah, true.
This is a message to all of the millennials out there. Do not fall for the gambling ads.
the Voldemort gambling
It
ads.
doesn't matter that Voldemort comes out and says, "Oh,
Here's the thing. When you see Voldemort saying Avada Kedavra in the gambling ads, what I want you to do is I want you to
close it."
close it immediately, go to YouTube and type in Voldemort drag.
Mm-hmm.
And you will that video.
Okay, you've given them a way out.
Yeah.
You're now onto a different app.
Yeah, and you're doing great. You'll
Okay,
love it.
cool.
You'll love it more than the gambling.
Okay, how about this? When you hear the word Avada Kedavra, like you need to like.
Snap a band.
Oh no! I was thinking just picture vomit
Oh, no.
getting sprayed all
Don't
over
take-
your face.
No, don't take away the nostalgia. You just need to redirect it
Okay.
to Voldemort in drag.
Fine.
on
fine.
Dread.
Just
all right.
whenever you hear Voldemort saying Avada Kedavra, you just gotta imagine J.K. Rowling saying, "I love the trans community, but I have some concerns." Just
Oh,
imagine that coming out of her mouth.
I don't think she'd ever say.
I don't think she would ever be that
nicely,
fair.
No. She actually has said that before.
But I have
in a
some
tweet.
concerns.
Yeah, she makes all these claims. She's just like, "Oh, I love trans. I have so many trans friends." You know,
Oh, okay.
the old
now-
classics.
Trans
Yeah.
friends.
Okay. I get the vibe.
Avada
Yeah.
Kedavra! I wish I could Avada Kedavra J.K.
Yeah.
Rowling.
wow.
So
that's
what is
fucked up.
what does Avada Kedavra do?
Oh, you
Kills
don't
you.
want to know.
They don't tell you what it does in the video game.
No, it literally freaking kills you.
Does it?
Which by the way is so funny, like that there's a spell that kills you.
Yeah. And it's so easy
Like-
to say. It's not like it's like
I
a
know.
long spell or anything. It's just Avada Kedavra.
Like literally, what's the point? Like what's the point of any other magical spell that you can do on someone?
Well, I guess here's the thing. We fence, we box, we do all these things. It's not like we like only shoot each other in the head for sport. Right. Like the whole concept, we could do that. Like we dueled back in the day where it was just like walk 10 paces and turn around and shoot each other in the head. So like, it's just kind of like,
it's kind of just funny.
Now. Yeah.
It's kind of just, you just don't, if you're not killing someone with a Avada Kedavra, then you're just having a bit of fun.
Yeah, true.
You might realize that this is a break from the regularly scheduled podcast to tell you about Patreon. Well, that's because it is. Patreon is one click away, and you can spend only, $5 a month to learn so much about me, Anissa, and Dane in our secret podcast called The Bog. So go check it out, and here's a preview. Someone says, yeah, that's right. Post for your overlords before they come for what's on your hard drives, iDubbbz baby.
What?
And that's already like a psychotic comment, but the AI says, you are correct. That is one comment. The next comment is, I've never watched a movie with a baddie as good as me.
Oh,
Oh, whoa.
damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does not make any sense at all.
Just fucking
Speaking
say
of
it.
fun, I made some fun pho last night.
Oh, it was so good.
And I'm so proud of myself. I toasted the spices. I freaking simmered that broth. And man, did it freaking taste awesome.
Would you say that you're the fuck queen?
I'm not going to take that because I am a white woman. And I feel, I feel like if I take that title,
Say it for the people in the back.
I don't think I could be the pho queen, but I think I am the pho
King.
queen of this house,
Okay.
of this domain.
That works. That works.
Yeah. Because I was very impressed with what I did.
Yeah, yeah. It was super. My voice cracked a little there. It was super good. If I'm going to be honest. Yeah, it felt really authentic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had no notes for Anissa other than like, let's go get beef curtains from a store that
Beef curtains.
has beef thinnerly
Thin sliced. I had to thinly slice my own
thinnerly sliced.
flank steak.
The beef could be curtainer or curtainier.
Because I had to thinly slice it myself by hand, and that is not easy to do when you don't have like the proper knives to do it. But I still got them pretty thin.
Yeah, it
like
wasn't
it's
bad.
still cooked with the hot broth very quickly, and like, you know, it could have been, you know, a little bit thinner, but other than that, like, man, I'm craving it right now. I'm thinking about I think I'm gonna make it again tomorrow, maybe.
You make it tonight.
Oh, I'll make it tonight.
Okay.
But then I'm gonna have to flank steak. I'm gonna have
Flank some
to.
steak.
I'm gonna have to cut some more stank flank.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Okay. Now, I want to talk about, this is still a topic of New Year.
Okay.
New Year, new me. And I wanted to think about like what resolutions I had last year, especially on the pod, and like how they didn't go to plan or did go to plan.
Oh.
And I remember one that was really locked in my head is I really wanted to get like over 200 pounds. I wanted to get swole as fuck.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to think back to these plans and figure out why it maybe didn't happen. And I think for me, I didn't care enough, and I was a bit distracted.
That's definitely what it was.
I was way more focused on like YouTube and just, you know, getting back on the saddle. And I think I was just, my head was elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't really focus on that. And to be honest, I think I'm at the stage where I'm okay with not being 200 pounds. But if it happens this year, it happens. I'm ready for it. I've added some things tools to my arsenal that I think will help get me there. One is actually listening to music while I'm at the gym.
Yep.
It has made me lift heavier. It has made me lift harder. It has made me not dilly-dally quite as much. And it has inspired me. So that could help. When I wasn't listening to music, man, lifting at the gym without music is kind of like, I don't know, incorrect.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but I get why music is important. I like music, but we've been doing it without music for so long that I'm like,
take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Fair.
I'm definitely the kind of person where I literally cannot imagine working out without listening to music. It doesn't compute.
Here's the thing.
I think there's a lot of people who are like that.
No, I think most people are like that.
yeah.
I definitely couldn't run without listening to music. The reason why lifting, I mean, one, we talk to each other in between, or we used to.
You can run without listening to music. You just talk to me.
That's what I mean. Like it would have. That's why lifting without music is
also
fine.
Yeah.
But like even without talking to someone, listening to music isn't mandatory for lifting for me because I actually like focusing on the muscle, like having the connection of like what muscles I'm supposed to be feeling and paying attention to, and like it does. There are things that I can preoccupy my brain with, whereas like running is so monotonous that I have to have some type of distraction. But I also get why people need to lift with music, and I do think you lift way better. I think the problem is you see what I'm lifting and you're like, good enough for me. So you like lift what I lift. When it comes to legs, upper body, you lift more than me, but legs, you look at what I'm lifting and you're like, yeah, it's
good enough.
Good enough for me.
Yeah.
But when you're listening to music, you're a bit more removed from me. And I think it
also helps that I'm content with my body.
Yeah.
And like when I look in the mirror, look at other dudes' bodies, I'm like, I don't
need to do anymore.
Want that or desire anything different. I'm happy with where I'm at. So
I mean that's probably why you're not 200 pounds then.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the not caring enough about it part.
Yeah. So
I just wanted to do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. It sounded like maybe you just wanted to have a goal and you couldn't think of anything. Maybe that sounds good. That sounds like a cool one.
I just know that I won't be able to do that later in life.
Yeah.
As easily. So that's why. Same thing. Weirdly enough, with the long hair as well, where I'm just like, eventually I'm going to lose it, so I should get long hair at a certain point to see how I feel about it.
I don't know. It's hard to like say that you won't have an opportunity to do that kind of thing later in life, because I mean we're still pretty young in terms of like how much time we have left to be able to do that kind of thing, because I've seen some fucking pretty jacked 55-year-olds, you know what I mean?
Well,
like there's like a lot of time left to do that kind of thing.
I think most of the jacked 55-year-olds you're seeing are like on testosterone treatments, which
I mean, you could do that too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's fine. I think that's
steroids.
Like, totally
you could take
valid
steroids if you want.
Yeah, medically. I mean, it is an option.
Yeah, it is an option. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I'm telling you right now, I'm definitely doing hormone therapy when I get older. Nice. They've started to find.
You're gonna be trans.
Well, no, they used to tell women that doing estrogen, like hormone therapy, when because as I get older, I will stop producing estrogen.
Yeah.
And that is menopause. And menopause is like, they used to think that it wasn't good to like do hormone therapy, but now there's studies coming out saying that it's actually extremely beneficial for a lot of things, including bone health and stuff, I think, to do hormone therapy when you start experiencing menopause. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll probably do that. So if you want to fucking do some tea.
Hey, I'll grab some tea.
Yeah. But I think it's 45. When do men stop? When does your tea drop? 45?
I don't know.
I don't remember. But you've got time. The point I'm saying is you've got time. You've got like 10 years.
Yeah.
Before you even need to.
I know, but like even still, like.
Probably more than that. I mean, I don't know. Like you can be in shape your whole life.
Yeah, but I'm just saying to gain muscle.
I mean, yeah, in shape is different than muscle mass.
Yeah.
Like having like a gross amount of muscle mass.
To have that much muscle mass, you need testosterone.
It's a lot. Yeah.
You're saying you want a gross amount?
Well, gross. Yeah,
200 pounds
for my body.
Yeah,
for
that's
my
a lot.
frame and everything. Like,
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's hard for me because I'm not like super tuned into that world as much as you guys are. So when you say 200 pounds, I don't really I just imagine you having bigger biceps. I don't imagine you looking that much different.
Oh, he would look very different.
Yeah, what's crazy because aren't you like
200
180 or something?
Cut as much as I can.
So he's 185, but you probably have what, like a 18% body fat right now.
Yeah.
So he's like 185 with some of that weight is obviously fat. So for him to get to, you've probably got what, like 130 pounds of muscle. 120 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, probably closer to that.
And so to get to 200 pounds, that basically means that you would want to be at like 10% body fat. So that basically means you'd have to gain like 50 pounds of muscle. Mm-hmm. 50 to 60 pounds of muscle if you wanted to be like muscular, and that's like a very hard ask.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, if you wanted to gain like 15 pounds, I could give you some tips on how I did it.
Okay, we'll talk after the call. I mean,
it's no secret. I mean, you just gotta eat a lot of cheeseburgers.
But gaining that amount of muscle, because that's really what it is. Like he's 185 pounds, but of that it's
all sorts of stuff: bones,
water, fat. And then there's muscle. Well, I don't know if that's contributing much.
Well, not much, but it is something.
I think poop is more than semen in weight.
A lot of people have the misconception that poop is more than semen when it comes to body weight.
That's a good opening to a cool video.
That might be true for some people.
Brain, heavier than poop. Poop, heavier than semen. Semen, heavier than pee.
Oh, no. Semen is not ever... I mean, there is a point when you empty your... Is it ever? No, I don't think it would ever be heavier than... Pee.
No.
So semen is the lightest component.
There probably is a point, though, when you are, like, taking your last pee and you have not drank anything, where it's like, oh, yeah, like, your pee's officially below.
That's getting into the nitty-gritty.
Oh, I've taken pees where I feel lighter afterwards. I've never done that. I've never felt lighter after busting.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Jane's
true.
Floating around the room.
I wonder, is that a good dubz video where I see how much higher I can jump after peeing?
I was just thinking weighing yourself, like after shitting, after peeing, after coming.
Oh, I mean, I do that on a regular basis. No, honestly, though, if you've never weighed yourself before and after, like a big piss.
Yeah.
Or shit, all of the above.
Yeah.
Big emptiness.
Yeah. It reconfigures everything. But anyways,
you're not human.
200 pounds is that would be a big ask for you. I mean, it would be cool, but that would be like a 2-year-long project probably.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I end up lifting heavier in the gym, like, so be it. If I end up eating more, awesome. But I've abandoned that plan as like a main thing to focus on. I'm going to try to focus on things that are just going to, make me happier and, make other people happier and make me feel fulfilled.
I like focusing on food, like just making things that are tasty, but also nourish us in awesome ways.
Yeah, I agree. I like you focusing on food as well.
Why'd you laugh at me?
Well, it just sounded like one of those sayings of like, I like seafood. When I see food, I eat it.
Oh, yeah.
Like that type of shit.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to focus on food and making people happy and myself happy through food. That's like my most important goal.
That's fucking beautiful. Beauteous.
And my other important goal is keeping the house clean.
Well,
always going to bed with a clean kitchen. And doing a deep clean at least once a week.
You have any plans for the new year, Dane?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot more things to get in order than you guys do. You've had it all figured out.
That's
way
what it
longer than me.
seems like.
Yeah. But
No. I mean, in comparison.
Okay.
But I mean, one of those main things is mostly just like cleaning my apartment. I haven't really like actually cleaned my apartment since I moved here. Like I've wiped some shit down, right? But I've actually never cleaned it.
do you think
And it's gotten to the
hiring-
point where I have to. I know what you're thinking, and here's the thing: I'm way too embarrassed to do that.
Why, man? You should see what some people.
I don't know. I can do it.
Yeah.
I can. It's not outside of my ability to do that.
I will say this is leaning into something I've been thinking about a lot lately, which is this idea of I can do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't do it. But you keep telling yourself that you can do a particular thing. I'm not saying that this is the case for you cleaning your apartment.
But it's
no.
definitely
This is more of a philosophical thing. I get that.
Yeah. Where like I just find that it has been like a huge mental barrier for me to continue to tell myself not that I'm basically telling myself like I should be able to do this thing.
I was gonna say we're both extremely guilty of this.
Yeah.
You're extremely guilty of it to the point where you will not ask for help, and you've gotten your like things that would very easily be solved, like do not get solved. But also me, when I was like extremely chronically depressed, I would not get someone to help us clean the house, or I would not like because I was like I should be able to do this. I can do this, and then our house just never. For I mean, I'm not saying that that's what it is for you, Dame, but for me, like, I literally could not do it. Like, I actually could not do it. Like, doing makeup was hard for me back then. So, like, cleaning the house was just not. But I would be like, well, everybody does this, so I should be able to do it. Sometimes you just fucking cannot do it.
No, I totally agree. And there are some things that I have come to the conclusion where it's just like, oh, this is something that I can't do by myself or at all. And I enlist the help of others. But when it comes to this, I have cleaned my house before in the past, and I will continue to do it. And this is not a habit that I want to abandon exactly, because here's the thing. I feel like if I say, it's so messy here that I could just hire someone to clean it, like that might just become like what I do now. You know what I mean? I don't really want that to get to that point. I want to, I don't know. It's kind of more of like a responsibility challenge more than anything for me.
You want to feel self-sufficient.
Right. Because, I live by myself. I don't have to, I shouldn't rely on anyone else but myself to clean up after myself. So it's just one of those things that I feel like, yeah, you're right that there are some things that, you should get help for, but I think cleaning up after yourself is probably not one of those things, right?
Yes and no, I think.
Well, yeah, for me, I needed help.
I think when it comes, like, there are certain things where it's like, doing a deep clean of the entire house, like taking care of areas that there are like areas that you would never even think to clean if you're not, trained in this or doing it regularly.
Yeah.
And yeah, having someone clean your house is not a slippery slope. You're not going to be like, oh, that is like the fucking, all my problems are solved.
Sometimes it's just the leg up.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like, wow, this feels so good. I had no idea my bathroom could get this clean.
Yeah.
So it gives you kind of a barometer.
Yeah.
And it also kind of just tells you like, yeah, it took 2 years for it to get this dirty. It's a lot easier to clean up and manage this room or this space now that it's fucking shiny clean.
I will say, like, I needed help, and that help came in the form of like medication, but it's still help. Like, if I didn't have medication, I would actually have to pay someone to come do it because I just the physical limitations were just like too much. So I mean, sometimes, you need help.
Hey, well, you guys are right. I will consider that.
Okay.
It's something that I had considered in the past, but I think it was just kind of like, it was more on the side of me doing it that was winning.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It would be nice to just kind of like reset to 0 so that I have a
Yes.
perspective of
Yes.
of it, and then I'll be more motivated to keep it that way because I
Yes.
like it so much. You know what I mean?
And it's easier to keep it than to like. It's so hard to climb out of that hole, and then but when it's clean, it's way easier.
Also,
to keep clean.
For sure.
I think it's important to realize as well that like cleaning is just hard in general.
It's hard
like
work.
Cleaning an entire
It's
apartment,
hard
an
work.
entire house,
Yeah.
like because it's not just like making sure that trash is picked
Yeah.
up. It's like I'm sure
Yeah.
you don't really even have much of that in the way of
Clutter
cleaning,
or
right?
trash.
It's like
Yeah.
you don't have trash just laying everywhere like fucking Asmongold type shit.
Oh, I did for
Oh, you did?
like yeah.
See, I mean that's a perfect.
I mean, I
example,
recently,
right?
but
It's
I
like-
recently cleaned it up. I mean, like I did that because it had to be done eventually.
yeah,
But it's so hard because like that's a dent in like because here's the other reality of it. Men are not taught by their mothers the reality of what actually cleaning a house is. That's true. Like if you followed me around the house and saw everything that I do
Right.
when I clean,
a lot.
you'd be like, I wouldn't even thought that that was something that needed to be done. And there's these holes in like these big blind spots. For example, like cleaning the floors, mopping the floors, you know, getting down on the baseboards and like removing the grime that gets in those things. A lot of men are not taught like these are things that you have to keep on top of.
Yeah.
So by the time you look around and you're like, oh my God, it's gross. How did it, when I lived at home, it was never like this. How did this happen? It's because you were never taught
Yep.
that there's these things that you need to be doing. So like I deep clean the house and it takes me like 3 to 4 hours to do everything and to like get the bed sheets and do all of that. Like you wouldn't clean the bed sheets.
Nah.
So like it's a societal difference where I think a lot of mothers just look at their sons and they go, you're going to have somebody else do it. You don't need to learn that. And
Yeah.
I think it sets you up for a bit of failure as well.
I will say on this topic, I think it could be valuable for Dane and others, and me, to be honest. But I just saw this on YouTube. I don't know how many months ago, but I saw that it was going viral. Midwest Cleaning Magic is the name of the channel, and the title of the video is "This should be required viewing before graduating high school," and then the thumbnail it says "Cleaning is not intuitive."
It's not.
And it's 34 minutes, and I just saw it right now. It has 2.5 million views, posted 8 months ago. I was like, oh, there's got to be some gems in this shit. And like, this is kind of what I've been missing. That's why I have it saved, because I'm like, this is good shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and
this is the type of stuff that you're not taught,
yes.
and that your parents might not even know, because there's so
Yes.
many tricks of the trade,
Yeah.
and you never fucking learn
It
them because
also-
it's not sexy.
Teaches you though to appreciate what I do. Like if I'm handling raw meat in the kitchen, the amount of like cleanup after that. Like so if I'm choosing to make like certain meals even, like that is
Yeah, more cleanup.
more labor. And cleaning in general, like it's a lot of labor if you want to have a home that feels good. So like at the same time, like Dane, for you, like yes, like you should be able to clean up after yourself, but you probably weren't really set up with the tools to even do that. Like I'm sure you didn't
How
follow
so?
your mom around. Well, did you follow your mom around and like help clean the do
No,
the big
but
cleans?
my mom for the majority of my like life basically was a single mother,
Yeah.
and she had to go to work all the time, so a lot of the cleaning was relegated to me and my sister. And so we kind of had to learn by trial by fire or whatever.
Yeah.
Not really by fire. I mean, we just had to kind of learn how to clean to an
Trial
acceptable,
by
an acceptable-
Fabuloso.
Yes, Trial by Fabuloso. Shout out Fabuloso, it tastes great. But the kind of cleaning that we were taught to do was essentially just cleaning to the point of it being acceptable.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, whether you want to say that was like us not learning how to clean appropriately or whatever, because it was just kind of like we weren't exposed to like doing it professionally or doing it like to a certain degree. I mean, that's totally right. I mean, it's just kind of I mean,
Yeah,
it's
so
probably
the-
pretty rare that people are exposed to that, right?
I don't know. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So my mom was cleaning, like, my mom was like taking shit off of the shelves and putting the chairs up and disinfecting, mopping the kitchen, and like,
Right, right.
like my mom was doing all of that. And I think I was very lucky to, have that. My mom now like cleans, just for like extra money. Basically, she like cleans because she's so good at it at this point. So I was exposed to that. Were you taught like mopping and like cleaning the toilets and like disinfecting surfaces? So you did all of that.
Yeah, yeah. But I
Okay.
mean, like I said, it was kind of like it was understood between me and my mom and my sister that we are just teenagers and we're all busy. you know,
Yeah,
just
so
a
just
lower
do it.
standard.
So just do it. Yeah, it wasn't to such a high standard that it was like spotless, like you could eat off the toilet seat or nothing like that. But it was still expected of us that we had to clean up after ourselves.
Yeah.
Because my mom wasn't going to do it. She was at work all day.
Yeah. I
So
would say you're
it
better
was-
off than most.
Right. No, I think a lot of people probably had moms who did all the cleaning and they weren't exposed to how it was done, nor did they appreciate
Yeah.
the value of it when they were living there because it was just automatically taken care of.
Yeah. Like
But-
Ian, you didn't clean anything, did you? You did outside chores.
A lot of outside chores. Cleaning dishes. I did dishes.
But none of the bathrooms or like
No, it was a lot of man, yeah, I maybe fucking cleaned the toilet like once.
yeah.
Never cleaned the bathtub.
Yeah.
Never cleaned. I think I cleaned the sink a few times. But yeah, not too much.
Yeah, and I would say that's the average experience. And it's hard when you get married because there's a disconnect
Yeah.
of like you're not even aware of the things that need to be
Oh yeah.
done. But Dane, it sounds like you're at least aware of what happens if things get let go.
For sure. I mean, I'm been the reason why I want to do it now is because I've seen it get, to the point where I'm like, okay, well, this can't really be ignored anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I think it also just tied to my I have like low standards, I think, for like putting up with whatever, just anything. So I'm not super annoyed by a lot. And I think that includes like,
That's
I don't know,
such a
having a
good
dirty
point.
floor or something. I just
Yeah.
don't really care about there being a little dirt spot on the floor.
That
And
is
so after a while, it just kind of builds into there's a lot of dirt spots on the floor, and I'm like, well, it's whatever. It's on the floor. my feet aren't gonna get attacked by the dirt. It's just like I don't know. It's just I'm not the kind of person to be alarmist about cleanliness necessarily.
Interesting about that is for me, I used to be that way until I got my depression in check. I used to have a lot different standards for what I would put up with. Now that my depression is in check, like I believe that I deserve to be in a cleaner space. Like it actually bothers me. And now I am routinely cleaning, not for his sake or not for anybody's sake other than myself. And it's very fascinating because I used to say the same thing. Like I just have low standards. And when we got together, we liked it because both of us seemed to have those low standards of like, yeah, like if we can live in it, then it's fine. But getting my depression in check made that very different for me.
Yeah. It's interesting needing the like grating feeling or the lingering feeling of like, ooh, that thing that is sitting out is bothering me.
Yeah.
That isn't where it should be.
Yeah.
Or this isn't clean.
Yeah.
Like, and that like sitting with you, I think that's really important to consistently keep things clean and also not think of it as a chore, but
Well-
instead be like, no, this is going to make me feel better.
What's weird about it is what my brain is doing, and I don't know if it's the therapy or the meds or both, but my brain is going, you deserve better than this. Like sometimes I walk into the kitchen or walk into the living room.
Well, that's a really healthy way of looking at it.
Because it's like I'm like, I don't really like this smell. I deserve to be in a space that is clean and smells good, and I feel safe being on the couch. I'm not like thinking about it. Like even the kitchen being a little bit dirty, like it's like I deserve to be able to walk into this space and feel like I can do anything and put a utensil down on the counter and like not question when the last time it's been wiped.
Right.
And that's what my brain is doing now. But the past however long, it's been like, it's good enough. And I just can't be fucked. And I'm actually fine with it. It's not bothering me that much. So it's not a big deal. I have other things to do. That's what it used to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know, again, like how much of it is just therapy or how much of it is the medication, but I am 100% motivated by I deserve to be in a space that makes me happy. And so that's why I'm the way that I am now.
Lovely.
So I'm just saying for you, Dane, because I wonder if maybe your standards are low for other reasons and maybe like they would be higher, if you kind of had more of that attitude, do you think? Or is it
maybe? I mean, I feel like I do tend to have that attitude about other things though. Like I deserve this, this, and this. Like I feel that way about just being generally happy. And satisfied with my work or my life or my lifestyle or whatever. But when I think when it comes to like my environment or whatever, I've always been like kind of content with whatever I bet you that if I ever got like, I don't know, $1 million out of nowhere, like I don't think I would even know what to do with it.
So is it
because
more like an indifference?
I don't need anything. No, I just think that I just think that I have low standards for living.
Yeah.
Which I don't think necessarily is indicative of thinking lower of myself. Necessarily. I think it's just kind of the way I was raised. I like I said, I grew up mostly in a household where I was raised by only my mom, whether she was divorced from my dad in the later half of my childhood or earlier where he was in the military and he was like overseas a lot or just absent in other emotional ways. So like I kind of grew up in an environment where like you didn't really get everything that you might want, and that's okay. And it kind of taught me to realize that like I can survive off of very little very easily and still be happy. And I feel like that has like kind of continued into my adult life.
Yeah, I think Ian's kind of described like similar attitude towards like you don't need very much to be happy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, what is compelling you to want to clean your apartment to, I guess, a higher degree than you've been cleaning it these past couple of years?
Well, a part of like what I want to start doing this year more is to have you guys over, for example. And I don't really want to entertain guests if like my apartment is messy. That's like one of the reasons. Another reason is just that, like I said, it's just gotten to a point where it just kind of, I look at it and instead of like, it just gets to a point, right, where you're just kind of like, this is beyond me just being okay with it. This is like just unhealthy.
It's now like visible.
Yeah, it's like it's just always there, and I'm like, oh, I just get reminded of it a lot more because it's just gotten so like there's just dust everywhere. I literally just need to take a duster to most things. I think is the main thing. It's just so visible all the time, just a thin layer of dust on everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just one of the things. But I mean, it's just kind of like, it's time.
I get
That's how I feel about it.
I used to, when I was really struggling, you remember, I would hit like a breaking point and be like, I need to do something. It's just, I think everybody just has a different breaking point. That's like, okay, like I have to.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was.
Well, I mean, it also sounds like Dane wants to, have us over more often.
Yeah.
So it's like his standard has to get higher for that to like work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and if you had a partner, like another reason that it would naturally get higher.
Sure.
You involve more
Exactly.
people.
Like I'm sure our standards would even out.
Yeah.
Like it would balance out between us, where it's
Yeah.
just like if she doesn't want there to be dust everywhere, then she's going to point it out more often than I'm going to.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is probably a helpful conversation for a lot of people. I think struggling with like cleanliness and functioning in that way is especially it seems like for millennials.
Yeah, cleaning in general, I think I have a lot of mixed feelings about like the process of cleaning, when you should clean it, all of these things, because it feels like there is a lot of like information around it, a lot of learning to do. And there was just no one, I don't think there was a lot of space for it growing up, because there was a lot of other shit to worry about.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was relegated to parents or other siblings or whatever. And there's just so many things that I worry about fucking up.
Yeah.
Because it's like they do talk to you about don't use this here, don't use that there.
Also mixing chemicals.
Mixing chemicals. You don't want to break whatever machine you're using. You know, if you do something wrong once and you were trying to like clean something up as a kid, you're going to oftentimes know about it. You're going to find out about it, and it's not going to be nice from my experience.
It's inherited. It's something that you should inherit from your parents. And a lot of people don't inherit from your parents. Like a lot of these things are like learned and passed down like knowledge. Like that's what humans do. And a lot of us like missed out on that because our parents are fucking busy. Like a lot of parents couldn't be home.
Yeah.
To do that, to pass down that knowledge. So now you're like looking at all these things and going like, I know there's things that can fuck up, but like I didn't have like the time, nor did my parents have the time to sit me down and like do this routinely. That community was not there in the same way that like a lot of people don't know how to cook for themselves either, because the community of like being there with your grandma and your mom and your whatever and being in the kitchen and cooking with them, like people were busy working jobs. Like the stay-at-home mom thing wasn't really like a thing, right? So that's why, like, again, like something that I'm finding really empowering right now is like I am my own mom. I'm my own dad. I am giving myself that care of teaching myself all these things and like making my space safe and like I'm being those roles for myself because we're adults and we can do that, but it takes extra effort now, and you have to like be willing to make mistakes to get to that. And it's sad that we have to do that, but it's societally, we all got fucked over. We just have not been at home with our families the way that, you know, humans should be. Yeah. And that's just what it is. Yeah.
I think we have a lot of viewers who are parents. So if you are, how do you do it? Sound off.
Yeah, I'd be very curious, like, what is, because I know the
or how do you don't do it?
Yeah, well, because you can't, like, most people cannot stay at home.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. Yeah. You have to work, especially with the cost of childcare right now is insane. So both working, like, what does that look like? I know daycare starts pretty early, like a year and a half and stuff. And like, there is great community in that, especially if you find a good daycare, but
yeah, again, even expensive. Still, yeah, it's a lot.
So,
yeah.
Intergenerational. I think it has to be intergenerational. Like, you know, you're very lucky if you have a parent in the picture that can help.
Yeah, I was reading some comments on this video, in particular, the one about cleaning not being intuitive. So many interesting anecdotes about people's upbringings. This person says, no, that's the wrong one. All of those times my dad screamed, "You live like a pig, clean your room." I was, 6? No one showed me how. He acted like it was second nature. Thanks for this video, hon.
Yeah.
Once when my mom was yelling at me for not loading the dishwasher correctly, I asked her to show me how. She said, "You don't want to learn. You just want to be stupid."
Yep. Yeah.
You can imagine it was the same with other cleaning too. Thank you for making these videos.
Sad.
Yeah. Oh, this one's interesting. This is a parent that apparently did have, I think, a little bit more. There was a little bit more, I don't know, A-type or organized. They say, my dad slipped an index card full of chores under our doors every Sunday. There were 5 of us. My dad, an elementary school principal, knew how to keep children busy. We hated it. Couldn't go anywhere or watch TV until our chore list was done. He itemized each chore with 1, cleaning sliding glass doors. A, clean bottom after vacuuming dust out. B, clean glass inside and outside. Each chore was explained in detail. I realized not everyone had a dad like mine. It definitely taught me how to clean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a fascinating topic, and it really isn't interesting to learn about. I think it's why that video was going so viral, is because there's a lot of millennials, Gen Xers, Gen Zers that are fucking clueless.
That's like the thing. Even when you're thinking about parents screaming about, like, you don't want to learn, like, I sometimes I over empathize. I think that's an issue that I have, but I do think it's important to imagine being a parent, like working fucking, long days. You get home and like your kid's asking you to explain something and to do more work, and you're just so
exhausted,
done.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying that it's right. Like, I do think that it is sad that that is the experience of a lot of people.
It's hard to put your brain into the brain of the child and be like, okay, they just are overwhelmed by this task.
Yeah, and they need help.
It's not my view of the task. My view of the task is that this shit's easy compared to working 8-hour days or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to do that, mental gymnastics to put yourself in the shoes of your child.
Yeah, it's just hard.
Clueless.
It's just the system we're in. It's stressful. So
yeah. I think everyone, that's another part of this problem, is like the definition of clean is so like, it is probably one of the most disagreed upon words ever.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up, clean basically just meant put things back where they belong.
But
put the trash in the trash can, and that is it.
I think that's clean for like when they were asking you to be clean. But
was,
your mom's attitude of clean, I would say, is on my mom's level of attitude. Like, every time I've been in your house, it is clean, which like I'm shocked by because both of your parents worked, and your mom kept like that standard of clean. But you're correct that there are. I mean, you talked about some homes that you went into when you were a kid, and like,
oh man,
clean for them was just move some trash here to out here, and it's clean. They weren't actually cleaning the rugs. Like, I last week deep cleaned like with a Bissell, like whatever, the rugs. Like went in and sprayed them and fucking scrubbed them and vacuumed them up, and like that's a different level of clean than like, the crunchy rug that you walked into at...
Dude, Mickey and Chucky's bathroom was worse than a public bathroom.
Yeah, that's...
worse than a public bathroom on Santa Monica Beach.
That's like, so hard for me to...
You'd walk in there, you'd get hit with a wall. Imagine the whole place being yellow.
Oh my!
That's hard to imagine. Everything's sepia tone in there. Everything's sepia tone.
That is so foul.
Can I just say, I had a friend whose bathroom was just like that. Also.
What the fuck?
It's fucking disgusting.
Jesus.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sepia tone bathroom is so fucking real. It's so funny.
Oh my god.
Next level sickening. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like.
But the thing is, it's like, how old were you when you used that?
Probably like 14, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was, 15, 16? I don't care. Still fucking used it.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Well, I mean, women have a different setup. Like, yeah.
I would never.
I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah.
The worst I had was like when I was like 18 and partying. I had like this one friend. There's always this one girl who was like, she was so cool, but also so fucking gross at the same time. And she had like the cherry like hanging thing on her car. She always had like a Volkswagen or like something like that. And like her car always smelled good but had like a bunch of fucking trash in it.
Yeah.
And then you'd go to her house and like the cat litter, it always smelled like cat piss everywhere. And like she had really cute stuff, but like everything was all over the place. But it was still like clean. It was just like her cat, you know,
There was always something that you could kind of
her cat
to.
liked to piss on things.
Right.
And you know, things were just a little bit jumbled
It's
and
true. It was like never really her fault.
yeah, like things
was
were
just
so
like life
clean.
is
It's
really-
just life was a lot, and she's a lot, and she smoked inside, you know, so her house kind of
I
smelled.
like that. Yeah, that's true.
Was she hot?
She was hot. She was
Okay,
very hot.
I asked that because I think that might be an archetype of
Yeah,
hot
Dane
girl.
was like, I dated her.
No. I didn't date her, but I knew a really hot girl. I was like pretty good friends with, or she was in my friend's circle to the
Yeah.
point where I would be in her car.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was insane. She was like full makeup, all did
Yep.
up all the time,
Yep.
super hot, always had the great fit.
Yep.
You get in her car, it's messy,
Yeah,
messy
messy
shit.
as
Like
fuck.
it's the complete opposite of what you'd expect. It's
Yep.
so funny.
But there's always an air freshener, and it's always a good smelling air freshener.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's there.
Yeah. I definitely like had crushes on the like I would when I was at
You
Grant
would.
McEwen.
Yeah.
How could I not? She'd be like, "Oh, you want to come over and like we'll do makeup, we'll go to the bar." I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, that kind of gave her this weird, like, masculine element. Where
Yeah.
you're just like, ooh, a bit of a mystery character.
Yeah,
Like,
and she was wild.
yeah.
And I was sober. Like I didn't drink, so I was
She was always like,
the
you
mom.
want to fuck on the trash pile in the back of my car?
I just thought she was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And the one that I there was a girl that I like she's a mother now. So bless her.
She's mothering.
Yeah, she's mothering, but she was a crazy bitch. She used to talk about poking holes in condoms to try and get pregnant because she had baby fever. She was a crazy bitch.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
But-
she's a mother now.
She is a mother now, and I hope she's living her best life. I think she has 2 sons. But anyways, the point being is that level of messy is different than what you're describing, which is like literally biohazard
yeah.
foul.
Yeah.
And if I walked into a bathroom like that, I would vomit.
Yeah,
and two,
sometimes I
never-
really just don't know how they did it. I think it was, it must partially be a playroom for them as well. You know what I mean?
Playroom.
Yeah, like there must be challenges that they do, like piss on the walls, walk around the bathroom and pissing on the walls,
You're
and then make
making
it
it
to
sound like
the
if they
toilet.
were to piss on the wall,
Uh-huh.
it would clean it at that point because the acidity would like move the grime off of the wall. That's
Yeah.
how what I'm imagining, which is making me sick. I'm getting sick.
That might be true. That
This
might be
is so
true.
fucking gross.
You're the one who said
Here's
it, though.
here's the reality of it. It's that like those houses. I mean, I can only assume because this is how it was for the house that I'm describing. But that house is old. It's been there for 20, 30 years. It's been owned by the same family, and the bathroom just never gets cleaned.
Bleach it. Just fucking bleach it.
I will say, we're in a pretty good neighborhood. That house wasn't old. They made that house old.
Yeah, I was
Really?
gonna say, yeah.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
I will say they eventually they're no longer living there, and I feel so bad for whoever the fuck bought up that house
Yeah.
to renovate it, because it now is like this fucking perfect little suburban home. And I could really tell that they went through hell
Yeah.
taking that place apart, and they probably found all sorts of things.
Cockroaches, infestations at the ass. Like the way that you describe the rug, there's definitely every single critter on the planet feasting
well,
on
that's
that
just
rug.
it. Is like, I actually think it was such a biohazard that animals had a hard time living there. Yeah, like legit, like. You know what I mean? It
No,
just
yeah,
it was
yeah.
this ecosystem
Yeah.
where it's like, no, you don't understand. Like the food that was burnt into the rug were hot Cheetos, and you might think, well, like any animal can take care of that, but it was probably so acidic,
Yeah,
and
no,
fucked
yeah.
up, and it's like
Radioactive.
yeah, and the bubble gum that they would chew twice and throw on the back wall, that was also so acidic, and that's not food as well. So it's like, yeah, not much potential for life.
I'm so
Just filth.
shocked. Like, I just can't. I found myself in very precarious situations when I was a child, like parents that were strung out on meth, with their kids in the house. Even their houses,
not as bad.
not anywhere near. So it's like really hard for me. I literally had a friend who had 2 meth head parents, and their house looked a million times better than whatever the.
Well, that's because they're on meth.
Yeah, that's true.
When they cooked chicken, it was always
They're up
pink.
at 3 a.m. cleaning.
The other thing Ian told me, Dane, he tells me this every single time. He says that when they cook chicken, it's pink, it's raw. He tells me that they would serve him raw chicken thighs for dinner in this home.
Whoops.
It was always pink.
That is.
Did you eat it?
Oh yeah.
What?
I mean, they were eating it. I mean, I didn't know any better. I put it together like later. It felt like, oh, this is weird because I feel like all the chicken I've ever eaten was like, white or dark or whatever.
You probably thought
Not
like,
pink.
oh, this is just like, I usually get chicken well done.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. They also had so much fly tape around the house.
medium rare.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the fly tape.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that was crazy.
That's that's specifically. I swear to God, that's American culture. Because I'm telling you, I have never been in that situation.
They were actually more American than my upbringing because I didn't have the fridge, the garage fridge. They had a garage fridge.
Isn't that like a rich person thing?
I was always so jealous of the garage
I
fridge.
know.
I think that's a rich person thing because all my rich friends had garage fridges.
No, they were not rich. No.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have so much food. Like we need another fridge.
Yeah.
So like I always figured trampoline and backyard,
Oh, that's so rich.
hot tub for Edmonton, hot tub outside,
Wow.
fridge in the garage are all indicators that they're rich.
Yeah. No,
My
I get
my
that.
indication was like if you could make a lot of noise in your room without the parents getting mad because they were just so they were
That's
just
true.
they were like in another fucking
Wing.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another wing of the house. They could ignore you easily.
Yeah, that's true. I can attest to that. All right, that's gonna do it for this podcast. I hope you guys sounded off in the comments below about all of your wonderful ways of cleaning or not.
And dealing with parenting right now and getting your kid ready to clean when you're fucking stressed to shit.
There's a big wide world out there, and everything needs a good cleaning.
There's a big wet paper towel waiting for you to wipe down your sink with it.
Hasta!
La vista!
Baby!